Hey, what's going on, everyone? Zeusfer here, welcoming you to my CPL Majors draft recap. So, as you guys might have known, I took place in the CPL Majors, or not Majors, the CPL tryout tournament that happened a couple months ago. I actually ended up winning that tryout tournament, and because of my performance in the tournament, but also just because of my attitude and behavior in the Discord server, I was invited to the majors, and I gladly accepted it. And we finished this draft I want to say about 2 weeks ago. At the point that I'm recording this, I've actually already had my week 1 match, but I'm gonna upload that next week, so that way I'm not scheduling my battles and uploading those the same week that I'm having them. So this is when the draft recap's coming up. Anyways, I probably should stop rambling on here and actually get on to the team. So I had a pretty early pick in the draft. I think I was like 5th overall, or 4th or 5th overall in this draft. This isn't in order of when I drafted them, it's just in order of tiers. My first pick actually was Mew, but I'm just going to go over them based off of their tiers. So for my Mega pick, I decided to go with Mega Scizor. I actually picked up Mega Scizor very late in the draft. I think it was like around 9 or 10 I picked up my Mega. I was actually going to wait a little bit longer to pick up Mega Scizor, but my backup plan, being Mega Aggron, was actually drafted. So I decided I can't wait any longer just because my backup's already gone. I don't want to have to switch up my plans this late in the draft. So I went ahead and picked up Mega Scizor. Nickname is Sierra. If you can see what the link is between nicknames and the actual Pokemon, leave that comment down below, and I'll reveal that at the end of the video. So maybe like timestamp when you're guessing what the link is between the nicknames, but I actually like the idea. Reason why I went with Mega Scizor was just because it gives me another good defogger. Since I already had Mew and I had Gliscor as well, gives me a very bulky offensive Mon. Base 140 defense is really good, especially with that typing. Has a lot of good resists. Has multiple viable sets with, just straight up defog roosts, defensive sets, setup defensive sets with sword stance, just offensive sets with bullet punch, U-turn, superpower, knockoff, things like that. Technician's a great ability. It does boost like things like bullet punch, and if I decide to run bug bite for some reason for like scouting for berries and things like that, it also does give boosts to that. But overall, a really good Mega. I haven't actually had much experience with Mega Scizor, so that's also the reason why I wanted to try it out in the CPL, which is because I haven't had that much experience with it, but I do like my Steel type Megas, so hopefully I can use Sierra pretty well. Next up, we have Mike the Mew. This was actually our round 1 pick, and Mew is a mon I've actually never used in Draft League format. It's always been taken before I've been able to pick it, or I just have prioritized other things ahead of it, but I wanted to give Mew a shot just because, like I said, it's just something new. A lot of these mons are actually new to me. There are a few mons I've had some experience with, but a lot of them are new. Mew is definitely one of those mons, and Mew just does more or less anything and everything to a degree. It's a Stuff Rock setter, it's a defogger, it's a switch initiative with U-turn, Volt Switch, even Baton Pass. I can Baton Pass stats. I can't Baton Pass speed and other stats, but I can Baton Pass like a Sword Stance or Nasty Plot and anything. Well, I can also Baton Pass just speed, but it has just crazy coverage, as everyone knows. It gets every HM, TM. It has priority in things like Vacuum Wave and Sucker Punch, I believe. It does get Sucker Punch, right? Yeah, it does get Sucker Punch. I mean, there's so much I could say about Mew. I just hope that I don't limit myself when using Mew in this league. I know there's like some pretty common sets for Mew in league format. I just hope I can see myself past those limitations and actually really explore this very vast moveset it does have. Moving on, we have Tango the Terrakion. This is like my third round pick, I believe, was Terrakion. I've had experience using Terrakion before, but it's been a good minute since I've had it. It hits really hard. That's basically what it is. Hits really hard. It's also a good dark type switch in for my Mew. Teams are going to have to be wary of going for dark type moves against my Mew if I have Terrakion, because I just get a free boost. It can set up itself with Swords Dance and Rock Polish. It can take the Baton Pass from Mew and have that speed or attack investment or boost already applied to it. Earthquake plus Stone Edge is Edgequake, as it's known. It's really good. Close combat coverage is also crazy. Also has some other pretty good coverage in like Iron Head, Poison Jab, X's, or yeah, things like that. So just a pretty fast Mon that can hit pretty hard. So yeah. Moving on, we have Victor, the Volcarona. Volcarona actually is one of my Z users. I wanted a good fire type, but by the time I was picking for my fire type, there wasn't too many left. But I saw Volcarona was still there. It is a higher tiered pick, but I figured it's a mon I don't really have experience with, so I wanted to give it a shot. Without any boosts, with the Z move, it can still hit pretty hard with either Fire MZ or Buggy MZ, but always having that ability to Quiver Dance is really nice to potentially set up sweep late game. And as you can kind of see, my team does have really good hazard control for it. I believe, let's see, Scizor, Mew, Florges, Gliscor, and Blastoise. So some very good options for hazard control. So I don't have to necessarily worry about not having the options to make sure Stuff Rocks are off the field for Volcarona. But definitely interested in using Volcarona in Draft League for once. Moving on, we have Florges. Foxtrot is nickname. Florges was actually my second pick, my second round pick. I wanted a good fairy type, that could also defog, but it's also a really good Witch Passer, Cleric overall with Aromatherapy. It can like Calm Mind setup, but probably won't be running that very often, if at all. Mainly wanted to get it for the Cleric purposes, but also to have defog pressure off of Mew, and Foxtrot definitely helps with that. Moving on into what was our fourth round pick, I believe, was Golf the Gliscor. Once again, gets off a good amount of pressure that Mew has in running the standard hazard setting set by being able to both set up Stuff Rocks on its own, but also being able to get rid of them with defog. Can also Baton Pass, can also U-turn, so it adds switch to initiative and also more possibilities in Baton Passing. But overall is a kind of annoying mon to deal with in some cases with the Toxic Orb, Poison Heal set with Roost and Protect. Can also be run offensively with Swords Dance, Earthquake, things like that. So overall, just a really, I think, a pretty versatile mon for the tier it's in, and one that I do have some experience with, but not a ton. So looking forward to maybe trying out some new different things with Gliscor. Moving on, we have Juliet the Jolteon. Jolteon was kind of a necessity for me to grab because I believe it was like middle of my draft, and I didn't really have a lot of speed. And Jolteon is one of the fastest mons in League format at base 130. I know it is very frail, but it does give me that speed which I really needed. Having Volt Absorb is also really nice because it does give me another electric immunity. Has Switch Initiative with Volt Switch, also has Baton Pass. A lot of my team has either Switch Initiative or Baton Pass. And that was kind of a theme for the draft as well. Was trying to get some mons that can give me that Switch Initiative. And Jolteon does fit that. Its coverage isn't the greatest. I mean, really outside of electric moves, like it has Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, and like the H hidden powers, and I think that's about it. Yeah, Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, that's about it. So basically it's just there to hit quickly and hopefully clean up games and not have to try to clutch out games if that's the case. Also has Heal Bell, so it is Cleric. Can also Wish, but not really going to be trying to Wish Pass with a 65 base HP. But moving on, we have Kilo the Kyurem. Kyurem was also another mon that I don't have much experience with. I have a lot of experience with Kyurem Black, not so much regular Kyurem. But looking at its stats, I don't see why I haven't used this thing before, because it's a pretty good spread. It's a pretty bulky mon with access to Roost and base 90s in both defense and base 125 in HP. Pressure is an interesting ability, and potentially stalling out my opponent's stall if they have stall. And then his coverage is pretty good. Can hit both physically and specially. Has a lot of dragon coverage, has Earth Power, Flash Cannon, Focus Blast. Having Ice Stab is always really nice to have. Yeah, not not a whole lot to say about Kyurem at this point, just because I don't have much experience with it. So we'll have to see how I use it. Moving on, we have Romeo the Rhyperior to pair along with Juliet the Jolteon, two very polar opposite mons in my opinion. Rhyperior was selected to give me another option for setting up Stealth Rocks, because as of this point I only had 3, and Terrakion being one of them is not really that viable of a rock setter. I mean, it can run it, and it can work. But it's not necessarily known for setting up rocks. Rhyperior does give me that option. It's just a really good defensive wall with 115 base HP and 130 basic defense. Special defense is pretty lacking, but with an Assault Vest and the right investment, that can kind of be mitigated. It's slow as rocks, no pun intended. And it has a pretty good move pool. A lot of good coverage, I think. So I'll be looking forward to seeing what kind of weird sets I can maybe bring, or just weird coverage I can maybe bring on this Rhyperior when I do bring it. Moving on, we have Delta the Drapion. Drapion was another mon that I don't have really any experience with in Draft League format. Its typing means it's only weak to ground. It's immune to Psychic. It also can't be toxic, so that's really nice. I don't really know what it does too well. I know it has like Toxic Spikes, which my team didn't really have at the point. It has Knockoff Stab. Knockoff Stab is always incredible. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a fast mon for what it is. It's base 95 speed, kind of bulky, physically defensive wise. But I just know I wanted to try it out. That's about it. So we'll have to see how Delta does for me. moving on, we have Bravo the Blastoise, and I actually used Blastoise in the CPL tryout tournaments, and I really liked it. The only knock I have against it is its lack of recovery, but or at least reliable recovery. Does have rest, but I did make it my second Z user to pair along with Volcarona, and because of that, I can run like Z Haze, and Z Haze not only does it clear any stat boosts or stat changes, but it also restores Blastoise to full HP. So it does give it some reliable recovery in that sense, but it's only a one-time use, so it's not really that reliable. But I got Blastoise because I wanted a good bulky water. It can phase with like Roar and Dragon Tail. It can remove hazards with Rapid Spin. And yeah, I like its spread of defenses. I can run it both physically or specially defensive. I've done it both ways, I believe, in the CPL tryout tournament. But it does just add me a little bit of familiarity on the team that I am lacking. So, and moving on to my final pick here, I have Charlie the Cacturn. At the point in the draft, I was like, well, my team's kind of weak to ground. Well, it is weak to ground, and it's also kind of weak to water. Is there a tier 5 mon that can kind of mitigate both in a sense? And Cacturn can, in a weird way. I say weird way just because its defenses aren't really that good at all. But being grass type means it resists ground, and having water absorb as an ability means it can be immune to water. And the base 115 attack special attack is actually kind of nice because I can run it either physically or especially offensive if I decide to run offensive. Gets access to Sucker Punch, but also has like some nice, interesting moves like Destiny Bond and Spikes. Spiky Shield is also kind of nice. But yeah, Cacturn was just kind of there to kind of fill in the holes that my team kind of had. But anyways, that's the team recap for the draft. And the hidden theme of the draft was each mon is nicknamed off of the phonetic alphabet with their first name, or first letter of their name, deciding what their nickname would be. So any mons with A would be Alpha, any mons with B would be Bravo, so on and so on. This also meant I gave myself a kind of a limitation in my draft, meaning I couldn't draft any mons that started with the same first letter of the alphabet, so made for some interesting draft planning. I had to kind of limit myself on what I could pick, even though there was probably some things that fit my team better, but I wanted to give it a shot, and I think I will enjoy the team. I like the possibility it has. It's pretty different from what I'm used to using, but I'll have to see just if I can adjust to it or not. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video now. So if you enjoyed watching, please hit the like button. Subscribe so you can follow the my journey in the CPL majors. Also, as an announcement, I am also taking place in the PCL D League. That is a Wi-Fi league that I applied to and was accepted to. As of this recording, we're currently doing the draft. And once that's all finalized and all the logos and all the layouts and stuff are finalized, like all the graphic stuff is finalized, we'll get a schedule for that. Those I think are going to be coming out every Saturday, so I'm going to try to make the CPL come out every Friday for you guys, so that way the weekends will be set aside for draft league format stuff, and then maybe I'll start doing some kind of series for the week. That way I can have some variety on the channel. But anyways, thank you guys for watching the video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.